Noodles seem simple. Boil water, cook, eat. But what's hiding in that package could be dangerous. From sodium levels that spike blood pressure to contaminated production lines and misleading health claims, some noodle brands are putting your heart and kidneys at serious risk. Today, we're exposing 9 noodle brands you should avoid at all costs and revealing the 2 that are actually safe to eat. Coming in at number 9, Top Ramen. Avoid. For decades, Top Ramen promised affordable comfort in a packet. Quick, easy, filling. A hot meal in 3 minutes for less than $1. The steam rising from your bowl carries that familiar, savory smell, almost meaty, with hints of garlic and onion powder. It's the scent of convenience, of nostalgia, of a brand that's been in American pantries since the 70s. But what they don't advertise is the sodium bomb hiding inside. A single serving contains over 1,580 milligrams of sodium. That's more than 2/3 of the daily recommended limit for seniors. If you're managing high blood pressure or taking heart medication like ACE inhibitors or beta blockers, this level of sodium can trigger dangerous spikes. Your body retains fluid, your ankles swell, your heart works harder to pump blood through vessels already under strain. The increased pressure damages your kidneys over time, accelerating the decline in filtration capacity that many seniors already face. The seasoning packet, with its artificial flavors and MSG, may taste savory, but it's silently attacking your cardiovascular system. Monosodium glutamate can cause headaches and chest tightness in sensitive individuals, especially those already taking medications that affect blood pressure. Recent consumer reports have shown that many seniors consuming instant ramen regularly experienced worsening hypertension symptoms. Blood pressure readings that were once controlled with medications suddenly became erratic. Emergency room visits increased. Doctors had to adjust prescriptions. The noodles themselves are flash-fried in palm oil during manufacturing. This creates a distinctive texture, slightly springy and absorbent, but that oil oxidizes over time on the shelf, forming compounds that contribute to arterial plaque buildup. Your cholesterol numbers creep upward. Your cardiologist frowns at your next appointment. The promise was convenience, a dollar meal that could save you time and money. The reality is a ticking time bomb for your blood pressure. Every packet you tear open releases not just that familiar smell, but a cascade of health risks that compound with each serving. Why do you think a product this cheap can afford to be on every shelf in America? At number 8, Maruchan Instant Lunch. Avoid. Maruchan markets itself as the go-to quick meal, perfect for busy days or a light lunch. The colorful cups line grocery store shelves with promises of chicken flavor, beef flavor, shrimp flavor. Just add hot water and wait 3 minutes. The company has built an empire on simplicity. But behind the cheerful branding lies a harsh truth that threatens senior health. FDA. Inspections of certain Maruchan facilities revealed unsanitary conditions that would make your stomach turn. Pest contamination in storage areas. Improper temperature controls. Raw materials kept in conditions that allow bacterial growth. Seniors with weakened immune systems are especially vulnerable to foodborne pathogens that thrive in these environments. Salmonella, E. coli, and Listeria don't just cause stomach upset in older adults. They trigger hospitalizations, severe dehydration, and sometimes death. Beyond contamination, each cup is loaded with over 1,500 milligrams of sodium. That's already alarming. But the real danger lurks in the chemical preservatives. Tertiary butyl hydroquinone, known as TBHQ, extends shelf life by preventing oils from going rancid. The FDA allows it in small amounts, but TBHQ has been linked to stomach tumors in laboratory studies. It's banned in Japan and several European countries. Yet here in America, it's perfectly legal to add it to food marketed to seniors. For those on blood thinners like warfarin or Eliquis, the combination of high sodium and chemical additives can worsen medication side effects. Your INR levels fluctuate, bruising appears more easily. The risk of internal bleeding increases, and if you're managing kidney disease, these chemical preservatives put additional strain on organs already struggling to filter waste. The texture of Maruchan noodles is soft, almost mushy after sitting in hot water. The broth has an artificial sheen, a thin film of oil floating on top that catches the light. That oily residue coats your mouth, leaving an aftertaste that lingers. The steam rising from that cup might smell comforting, but what you're inhaling is a cocktail of risk. Consumer complaints have surfaced about strange odors in some batches, a chemical smell, almost like plastic burning, discolored noodles that look grayish instead of the usual pale yellow. These aren't isolated incidents. They're symptoms of a production process that prioritizes speed and profit over safety. Ever notice how the cup gets so hot you can barely hold it, but the broth inside tastes lukewarm at best? Now, at number 7, Nissin Cup Noodles. Avoid. Nissin revolutionized instant noodles back in 1971. The foam cup design made hot meals portable. College students and busy workers embraced the convenience. The brand became iconic, a cultural touchstone, but their modern production hasn't kept pace with safety standards. In 2022, multiple batches were recalled due to potential plastic contamination during packaging. Small fragments of hard plastic found their way into finished products. Imagine biting into soft noodles only to crunch down on a hard, indigestible fragment. The sensation is jarring, painful even. For seniors, choking hazards increase with age. Your swallowing reflex isn't as quick. Your ability to cough forcefully declines. Swallowing foreign objects can lead to serious gastrointestinal injury or blockage requiring emergency surgery. Beyond physical contamination, cup noodles are notorious for sky-high sodium content. Some varieties exceed 1,800 milligrams per serving. That's more than the entire daily sodium allowance for someone managing hypertension. One cup, one meal. Your entire day's worth of sodium gone. The noodles themselves are flash-fried in palm oil before packaging. This gives them that distinctive curled shape and allows them to rehydrate quickly in hot water. But palm oil oxidizes during storage, especially if packages are exposed to heat or light in warehouses or delivery trucks. Oxidized fats create trans fats that weren't originally present. These compounds clog arteries more aggressively than saturated fats. They elevate LDL cholesterol while lowering protective HDL cholesterol. According to a study published in the Journal of Nutrition, people who consumed instant noodles more than twice per week had a 32% higher risk of metabolic syndrome. That includes high blood pressure, elevated blood sugar, excess abdominal fat, and abnormal cholesterol levels. For seniors already managing one or more of these conditions, adding instant noodles to your diet accelerates the problem. The foam cup itself poses risks. When you pour boiling water into it, the heat can cause chemicals from the foam to leach into your food. Styrene, the chemical used to make polystyrene foam, is classified as a possible human carcinogen. The hotter the water and the longer it sits, the more styrene migrates into your meal. The brand promises global flavor in minutes. Teriyaki beef, spicy chicken, shrimp. The packets of dried vegetables and meat look appealing on the packaging. But open the cup and you'll find tiny, desiccated pieces that barely rehydrate. The beef is more like brown cardboard. The vegetables are flavorless and rubbery. What they deliver is a cardiovascular threat in a foam cup, wrapped in convenience, sold as a solution. Don't click away just yet. The next brand markets itself as healthier and more authentic, but the truth will shock you. Stick around because the fix is coming at the very end. Coming in at number 6, Annie Chun's Noodle Bowls, Avoid. Annie Chun's brands itself as the healthier, more authentic Asian noodle experience. The packaging is sleek, modern, with minimalist design and earth tones. The marketing emphasizes natural ingredients, no artificial flavors, and authentic recipes. The price point suggests premium quality, sometimes double what you'd pay for conventional instant noodles. But dig deeper, and the betrayal becomes clear. Despite claims of being lower in sodium, many varieties still contain over 1,200 milligrams per serving. That's dangerously high for seniors on restricted diets. If your doctor has told you to limit sodium to 1,500 milligrams per day, total, one bowl of Annie Chun's noodles consumes 80% of your allowance. What are you supposed to eat for the rest of the day? Plain rice? Unsalted vegetables? More troubling are reports of undeclared allergens in certain production runs. Cross-contamination with shellfish, soy, and wheat has led to allergic reactions. Some were severe enough to require hospitalization. For seniors with food sensitivities or those taking medications that heighten allergic responses, this lack of transparency is life-threatening. Anaphylaxis in older adults progresses faster and more severely than in younger people. Your cardiovascular system can't compensate as effectively for the sudden drop in blood pressure. Your airways narrow quickly. EpiPens may not work as efficiently if you're on beta blockers. Minutes matter, and all because a company didn't properly clean its production lines between batches. The noodles have a different texture than typical instant varieties. They're thicker, chewier, made from rice flour or soba buckwheat. When cooked, they have a glossy appearance and a slightly sweet flavor. The broth packets contain real dried mushrooms and seaweed. It looks premium. It tastes better than the competition. That makes the hidden dangers even more insidious. Testing by independent food safety labs found that some Chun's products contained higher than expected levels of heavy metals, particularly cadmium. This toxic element accumulates in rice grown in contaminated soil. Even organic rice isn't immune if the fields were previously used for industrial purposes or exposed to polluted water sources. The glossy bowl promises authenticity and health. The fine print reveals negligence and risk. When you're paying premium prices, you expect premium safety. Instead, you're gambling with your health every time you peel back that film lid. Want the real truth about what's hiding in your pantry? Subscribe now so you never get blindsided by hidden food dangers. Most people never learn how to fix this, but we'll break it down at the end of the video. At number 5, Coyo Ramen. Avoid. Coyo markets itself as organic, non-GMO, and health-conscious, a ramen for the wellness generation. The branding screams purity with earthy packaging, Japanese characters, and promises of traditional preparation methods. The noodles are made from organic wheat and rice. The seasoning packets use sea salt and dried vegetables instead of artificial chemicals. It's positioned as the antidote to conventional instant noodles. But recent inspections tell a different story. Several batches tested positive for elevated levels of lead and cadmium, heavy metals that leach into the noodles from contaminated water sources used during production. Lead affects cognitive function, especially in older adults already experiencing age-related mental decline. Even low-level exposure accumulates over time, leading to memory problems, difficulty concentrating, and personality changes. Your family might notice you becoming more irritable or forgetful. Your doctor might attribute it to normal aging, but the real culprit could be sitting in your pantry. Cadmium targets the kidneys with devastating efficiency. This toxic metal accumulates in renal tissue, gradually destroying the organ's ability to filter waste from your blood. For seniors already managing chronic kidney disease, even small amounts of additional cadmium accelerate the progression toward kidney failure and dialysis. According to a 2023 study published in Environmental Health Perspectives, nearly 18% of organic grain products imported from certain Asian regions showed detectable heavy metal contamination. The organic label on the front doesn't guarantee safety on the inside. In fact, organic farming sometimes uses natural fertilizers that haven't been tested for heavy metal content. Contaminated compost or manure can transfer lead and cadmium directly into crops. When you open a package of Coyo Ramen, the noodles look different from conventional brands. They're darker, with visible flecks of bran. They smell wholesome, almost nutty. The texture when cooked is firmer, more substantial. You can taste the whole grains. It feels like you're making a healthy choice. That's what makes the contamination so insidious. You're trying to do the right thing, paying extra for organic ingredients, and instead exposing yourself to toxins. The company emphasizes its commitment to sustainability and traditional methods. But if the water supply at the source is contaminated, all the organic certification in the world won't protect you. Coyo promised clean eating. They delivered toxic exposure wrapped in virtuous marketing. Have you ever wondered why organic products cost so much more but still have recalls? Coming in at number 4. Pastaroni. Avoid. Pastaroni has been a pantry staple for decades, marketed as a quick side dish or easy dinner solution. The colorful boxes promise creamy Alfredo, cheesy cheddar, herb and butter varieties. Just add water, milk, and butter. Simmer for 12 minutes. The promise is comfort food without the hassle. But what's inside that foil pouch is a chemical cocktail that threatens senior health. The seasoning mix contains MSG, artificial colors like yellow 5 and yellow 6, and hidden sources of trans fats through partially hydrogenated oils. MSG might enhance flavor, but it causes headaches, flushing, and heart palpitations in many people. For seniors taking blood pressure medication, these reactions can be more severe and longer lasting. Yellow 5 and yellow 6 are petroleum-derived dyes linked to hyperactivity in children and allergic reactions in adults. They're banned in several European countries but remain legal in the United States. Why do you think the FDA lets brands use ingredients that are banned in Europe but still sold on every American shelf? The answer is corporate lobbying and outdated regulations that prioritize industry profits over public health. For seniors managing cholesterol or taking statins like atorvastatin or rosuvastatin, the trans fats in Pastaroni directly undermine your treatment. Trans fats raise LDL cholesterol while lowering HDL cholesterol. They increase inflammation throughout your cardiovascular system. Your statin medication works to lower cholesterol. The trans fats in your dinner work against it. You're sabotaging your own health without realizing it. Consumer complaints have surfaced about strange odors in some packages. A musty smell, almost moldy, coming from the dried pasta. Discolored noodles that look grayish or have dark spots. These complaints were later traced back to improper warehouse storage and rodent contamination in distribution centers. FDA inspection reports from 2021 cited multiple Pastaroni facilities for sanitation violations, insect fragments found in finished products, inadequate pest control measures, temperature control failures that allowed condensation and mold growth. The agency issued warning letters demanding immediate corrective action. When you cook pastaroni, the smell is rich and creamy, butter and cheese and herbs blending together. The texture is smooth, almost velvety, coating each piece of pasta. That creamy richness comes from powdered cheese products, dried milk solids, and emulsifiers. But underneath that appealing surface, you're consuming a mixture of artificial ingredients and potential contaminants. The foil pouch keeps moisture out during storage, but it can't protect against pests that chew through cardboard boxes in warehouses. The creamy texture you taste could be masking something far more disturbing. What's the weirdest thing you've ever found in a box of pasta or noodles? Drop it in the comments below. Now, at number 3, Knorr pasta sides. Avoid. Knorr promises bold flavors and quick meals, targeting busy families and seniors living alone. The pouches are convenient with varieties like creamy garlic shells, chicken broccoli, and Alfredo. The portions seem reasonable for a single person. The brand is globally recognized, owned by Unilever, one of the world's largest food companies. But behind the familiar logo lies a pattern of food safety failures that should alarm anyone concerned about what they're eating. In 2020, Knorr recalled thousands of units due to potential salmonella contamination traced to their dried vegetable suppliers. Salmonella doesn't just cause stomach upset. For seniors, it triggers severe dehydration, electrolyte imbalances, and systemic infection. Your immune system, already weakened by age and medications, can't fight back effectively. What starts as nausea and diarrhea progresses to fever, confusion, and hospitalization. In some cases, salmonella leads to death. According to CDC data, adults over 65 account for nearly 60% of salmonella-related deaths despite being only 15% of reported cases. Your body simply can't handle the infection the way it once could. Beyond contamination, the sodium content in Knorr pasta sides averages 1,100 milligrams per serving. Some varieties reach 1,400 milligrams. For seniors on diuretics like furosemide or hydrochlorothiazide, this sodium load triggers dangerous fluid retention. Your legs swell, your lungs fill with fluid, breathing becomes labored. You wake up gasping in the middle of the night, unable to lie flat. This is pulmonary edema, a medical emergency caused by congestive heart failure exacerbated by dietary sodium. The dried vegetables in the mix often contain sulfites, preservatives that extend shelf life and maintain color. But sulfites can cause severe respiratory distress in sensitive individuals. Your airways constrict, your chest tightens, you wheeze with each breath. If you have asthma or COPD, sulfite exposure can trigger a life-threatening attack. When you cook Knorr pasta sides, the aroma fills your kitchen, garlic and herbs and butter. The pasta softens in the simmering liquid, absorbing the flavored sauce. The dried vegetables rehydrate, though they remain rubbery and tasteless. That steam rising from your pot smells like comfort, but the ingredients are anything but comforting when you understand the risks. The pouch packaging keeps the product shelf stable for months, but that convenience comes at a cost. The dried ingredients sit in warehouses where temperature fluctuations and humidity create ideal conditions for bacterial growth and contamination. We're getting close to the most dangerous noodle on the market. But first, an American classic that's been hiding disturbing secrets for years. At number 2, Kraft macaroni and cheese. Avoid. Kraft mac and cheese is an American icon. The blue box, with its signature elbow macaroni and bright orange cheese powder. For many seniors, it's a childhood memory, a taste of simpler times. The nostalgia is powerful. The marketing leans into that emotional connection. Comfort food in 7 minutes. But the reality behind that familiar blue box is far darker than most people realize. The powdered cheese sauce contains artificial dyes like yellow 5 and yellow 6. Both are derived from petroleum, the same substance used to make gasoline. These dyes have been linked to hyperactivity in children, organ damage in animals, and cancer in laboratory studies. Yellow 5 and yellow 6 are banned in Norway, Finland, Austria, France, and the United Kingdom. Yet here in America, they're in one of the most popular foods in every grocery store. For seniors, the real danger lies in the sodium and saturated fat content. A single serving delivers 580 milligrams of sodium and 4 grams of saturated fat. That might not sound extreme until you realize most people eat the entire box, which is typically labeled as 3 servings. Suddenly, you've consumed 1,740 milligrams of sodium and 12 grams of saturated fat in one sitting. If you're taking blood pressure medication or managing heart disease, that single meal undermines days of careful eating. Your blood pressure spikes, your ankles swell, your heart works overtime to pump blood through vessels clogged with Saturated fat. Kraft facilities have faced repeated FDA warnings for unsanitary conditions, mold growth on production equipment that wasn't properly cleaned between batches, improper pest control allowing rodents and insects into manufacturing areas. In 2019, a whistleblower who worked at a Kraft plant reported finding rodent droppings near the cheese powder mixing area. The company denied the allegations, but the FDA investigation confirmed multiple sanitation violations. When you pour boiling water over those dried noodles, they soften and swell. The orange powder dissolves into an unnaturally bright sauce that coats every piece of pasta. The color is so vivid, it almost glows. That's not natural cheese. Real cheddar is pale yellow or orange from annatto, a natural food coloring. This is petroleum-derived dye designed to trigger nostalgia and appetite. The texture is creamy and smooth, coating your mouth with each bite. But that creaminess comes from milk solids, cheese cultures, and emulsifiers that bind the fat and water together. Underneath the comfort and nostalgia, you're eating a product that's been repeatedly cited for safety violations. The creamy nostalgia you remember is now a vehicle for hidden health risks. That blue box sitting in your pantry might trigger memories of childhood dinners, but it's time to recognize what you're really eating. Ever notice how Kraft tastes nothing like actual mac and cheese from scratch? What do you think they're really putting in that powder? Don't go yet. The solution comes at the very end, and it could change how you shop forever. But first, the absolute worst noodle product you need to avoid immediately. Coming in at number 1, Nissin Chow Mein. Avoid. Nissin Chow Mein tops our list as the single most dangerous noodle product. The packaging promises authentic Chinese-style noodles with savory sauce, all ready in minutes. The image on the wrapper shows perfectly cooked noodles glistening with sauce, colorful vegetables, and what appears to be meat. It looks like takeout from your favorite restaurant, but the truth behind this product is a horror show that threatens your health on multiple levels. Each serving contains a staggering 1,820 milligrams of sodium. That's nearly 80% of the daily limit in one small package. For seniors managing hypertension, kidney disease, or taking ACE inhibitors like lisinopril or benazepril, this sodium overload can trigger acute hypertension crises. Your blood pressure skyrockets. Your heart races, your vision blurs. In severe cases, you experience hypertensive emergency, a condition requiring immediate hospitalization. The sodium doesn't just spike your blood pressure temporarily, it causes your body to retain fluid, pulling water into your bloodstream. That excess fluid has to go somewhere. It accumulates in your lungs, causing pulmonary edema. You wake up in the middle of the night struggling to breathe. You can't lie flat. You sit upright, gasping for air. This is congestive heart failure, directly triggered by excessive sodium intake. For those with compromised kidney function, the sodium burden accelerates organ damage. Your kidneys have to work harder to filter the excess salt from your blood. Over time, this constant strain destroys the delicate filtering structures inside your kidneys. Your glomerular filtration rate declines. Your creatinine levels rise. You move closer to end-stage renal disease and dialysis. The noodles themselves are deep-fried in palm oil that's been reheated multiple times during manufacturing. This repeated heating creates oxidized fats that damage your cardiovascular system more aggressively than saturated fats. But worse than oxidized fats is acrylamide, a known carcinogen that forms when starchy foods are cooked at high temperatures. Research published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that dietary acrylamide intake is associated with increased risk of kidney cancer and ovarian cancer. A 2022 European study showed that people consuming high levels of acrylamide had a 43% higher risk of developing renal cell carcinoma. The noodles you're eating for convenience are quite literally carcinogenic. Beyond the chemistry of the noodles, Nissin Chow Mein production facilities have been cited for repeated health violations. FDA inspection reports document failure to maintain proper temperature controls during production and storage. This allows bacterial growth, particularly Bacillus cereus, a pathogen that thrives at room temperature and causes severe food poisoning. Temperature control failures also affect the sauce packets. The thick, viscous sauce is meant to be sterile after manufacturing, but if it's not cooled quickly enough or stored properly, bacteria multiply rapidly. Consumer reports describe finding discolored sauce packets that smelled rancid instead of savory. Some reported visible mold inside unopened packages. When you tear open the wrapper, the noodles are compressed into a hard brick, dark brown from the deep frying process. They have an oily sheen that leaves residue on your fingers. The smell is intense, almost burnt, with notes of oxidized fat. When you add hot water, the noodles soften but retain a greasy texture that coats your mouth. The sauce packet produces a thick brown liquid that looks more like sludge than food. It's overpoweringly salty with an artificial umami flavor that comes from MSG and hydrolyzed vegetable protein. Some consumers report a chemical aftertaste that lingers for hours. Others describe stomach cramps and nausea within 30 minutes of eating. These aren't isolated incidents. They're symptoms of a product that prioritizes shelf life and cost-cutting over basic food safety. The brand promises takeout convenience at a fraction of the cost. What they deliver is a toxic, contaminated mess that threatens your blood pressure, your kidneys, your cancer risk, and your immediate safety. This is not food. This is a health hazard sold as dinner. If noodles this dangerous are on grocery shelves nationwide, what else do you think slips through that we don't even hear about? The two noodles worth buying. After exposing all those dangerous options, you're probably wondering what you can actually eat. The good news is there are two noodle products that consistently pass safety inspections, use clean ingredients, and won't spike your blood pressure or damage your kidneys. Option 1. Lotus Foods Organic Rice Ramen. Lotus Foods offers certified organic rice ramen that's specifically designed for people with dietary restrictions. Each serving contains just 180 milligrams of sodium, which is 90% lower than conventional instant ramen. That means you can enjoy a bowl of noodles without worrying about your blood pressure medication or kidney function. The noodles are made from whole grain rice, which makes them naturally gluten-free and easier to digest than wheat-based alternatives. For seniors dealing with digestive issues or gluten sensitivity, this is a genuine solution. The production facilities consistently pass FDA inspections with zero contamination violations. Independent testing has found no heavy metals, no artificial preservatives, and no chemical additives. The texture is slightly different from traditional ramen. Rice noodles are smoother and more delicate. They don't have the chewy bite of wheat noodles, but they absorb flavors beautifully. You can add your own vegetables, herbs, and a small amount of low-sodium broth to create a meal that's both satisfying and safe. Option 2. Eden Foods Organic Pasta. Eden Foods produces traditional Italian-style pasta using organic durum wheat grown in the United States. Every aspect of production happens under strict quality controls. The wheat is sourced from certified organic farms. The milling process preserves the bran and germ, retaining natural fiber and nutrients. The pasta is slowly dried at low temperatures to preserve texture and nutritional value. Most importantly, every batch is tested for heavy metals, pesticides, and microbial contamination. The company publishes these test results on their website, giving you complete transparency about what you're eating. Sodium content is naturally low because the pasta itself contains no added salt. You control the sodium when you cook it by choosing how much salt to add to the boiling water. Eden Foods pasta has a firm texture when cooked al dente. It holds its shape well and has a subtle, nutty flavor from the whole grain. You can use it for traditional Italian dishes, Asian stir-fries, or simple preparations with olive oil and vegetables. The versatility means you won't get bored eating the same meal repeatedly. Both of these options cost more than conventional instant noodles, but the price difference is worth it when you consider the alternative: emergency room visits, medication adjustments, declining kidney function, and long-term cardiovascular damage. Your health is not the place to cut corners. Don't risk your health on bad noodle choices. The brands we expose today are still on store shelves, still marketing themselves as quick, convenient meals. But now you know the truth. You know which products hide dangerous sodium levels, contaminated production lines, and toxic chemicals. You know which ones are actually safe. Subscribe now, and if you're watching on TV, tap your remote so you never get blindsided again. Your heart, your kidneys, and your family